there, I'm Claudia St. President of Affinity Hr Group. We are your HR partner and resource. Today we're going to talk about employment at will. What does it mean and why is it so important? A lot of our folks will call us, our clients will call us and say, I have a problem with Lou. Lou is 58 years old and he won't embrace technology and he's just terrible and he's got a bad attitude and I want to fire him. I have employment at will, right? I can fire him for no reason whatsoever. Employment at will is actually one of these old sort of common law laws that came over back in the day when we were a colony of Great Britain that says that an employer has a right to hire and fire at will, and an employee has the right to quit, to choose employment or to quit at any point in time. They reserve that right. They reserve that right unless, there's a couple of criteria here, they reserve that right unless they're covered by a collective bargaining agreement. So if they're part of a union and are covered by a collective bargaining agreement, then they may or may not have the right to fire at will. And it is also illegal to fire somebody for an illegal reason. So that's why we have these things called protected classes. So you cannot fire somebody because of their age, because of their gender, because of their race, because of their religion, because of their national origin, in many locations because of their sexual orientation, because of their disability, because of their military status. There are a lot of reasons that would keep you from firing somebody. Now, if you have an employee who is a protected class, just like Lou is 56 years old, and so he's protected. You cannot fire him, but you cannot fire him because he's 56. You can fire him because he's failing to perform on the job, because he's not doing what he's being asked of. He's not changing his performance, and despite your efforts to help bring his performance up to par, he has rejected all efforts and is no longer doing what you require of that job. Now, what's really incumbent upon you is that you have all of the necessary documentation behind the fact that you have had problems with Lou all along. Lou has not performed the duties that have been required of him. And you can document the conversations that you've had with Lou about that. That's why documentation, even informal documentation, just saying, hey, I talked to Lou because he's not doing X, Y, and Z is so important. Because then you're able to bring that forward should you ever be before a case judge or in a court of law. So documenting, you're always okay, unless you're covered by a collective bargaining agreement, you're always okay to let somebody go because of performance. But here's the thing. It's going to be your word versus the employee's word if you're in a court of law. So they're going to say, Lou's going to say, she fired me because I was 56. And you can say, no, I fired Lou because he was terrible. But you have to provide evidence that he was terrible. If he was terrible, but you gave him the same merit raise that you gave everybody else, and there is no documented conversations that you've had with Lou about his performance, then chances are you're going to be in trouble with this one. So maintaining appropriate performance evaluations, documenting any conversations that you've had about Lou's performance, and showing that you've been trying, you've put him on a performance improvement plan, you've done everything that you can to try and bring him up to speed, and none of that resulted in the necessary improvement in performance that you were looking for. Therefore, you're firing Lou. You should be okay. Doesn't mean you won't be paying unemployment insurance or coverage for that individual because they're not performing is not gross misconduct. Hope this is helpful. If there are any questions that you have on this topic, just shoot me an email at Claudia@Affinity Hr Group or check out our website at affinityhrgroup.com. If there are topics you'd like us to cover, do let us know because that feedback is really helpful for us. In the meantime, I hope that you have a safe and productive work week.